The crystal chandelier cast dancing shadows across the marble floors of Sterling Tower as Vincent Sterling adjusted his diamond cufflinks. The 35-year-old billionaire stood at the floor-to-ceiling windows of his penthouse office, watching the city lights twinkle below like earthbound stars. His reflection stared back at him, all sharp jawlines and perfectly styled dark hair, the face that graced magazine covers and business journals worldwide. Sterling Space Industries had just secured another billion-dollar contract with the Global Space Coalition. Tonight's celebration would be attended by presidents, movie stars, and the world's most powerful people. Yet Vincent felt the familiar emptiness that success couldn't fill, a void that grew larger with each conquered mountain. His friends lounged on Italian leather sofas, their laughter echoing through the vast space. Tech moguls, oil heirs, and political dynasties, all united by their shared addiction to power and privilege. They spoke in numbers that would feed small countries, treating human lives like chess pieces on their personal boards. Vincent's gaze drifted to the security monitors, showing the building's lower levels. On screen 17, a figure moved through the shadows of the 40th floor, methodically cleaning what his guests would dirty again within hours. The night janitor worked alone, always arriving after the building emptied and leaving before dawn broke. Vincent had never seen their face clearly, just a slim silhouette in the standard gray uniform. Earth 2 Vincent called out his childhood friend, investment banker Trevor Kane. "You're brooding again. What's eating at you now?" Vincent turned from the window, forcing his practiced smile. "Just thinking about the guest list for tomorrow's gala. We've got everyone who matters." Speaking of the gala, Trevor's eyes gleamed with mischief. "I heard the most ridiculous idea earlier. What if we invited some random nobody, just 4? Laughs like that weird janitor who cleans the building. The room erupted in laughter. Senator Bradley Walsh nearly spilled his whiskey. "Trevor, you're evil. Can you imagine? Some poor cleaning person walking into the most exclusive event of the year." "It would be social media gold," chimed in tech heiress Priya Blackwood. "The looks on people's faces when they realize we let the help into our world," Vincent found himself strangely quiet as his friends painted increasingly cruel scenarios. Something about their mockery felt wrong, though he couldn't pinpoint why. Perhaps it was the memory of his own father, who'd built Sterling Industries from nothing, before dying too young, leaving Vincent with wealth but little wisdom about what truly mattered. "You know what?" Vincent said suddenly, surprising himself. "Let's do it." The room fell silent. Trevor blinked in confusion. "Do what? Invite the janitor? I'm curious to see what happens." Vincent's voice carried the authority that had closed. "Impossible deals and bent stubborn wills. Send them a formal invitation." Full black tie affair. His friends exchanged glances, unsure if he was serious. But they knew that tone. When Vincent Sterling made a decision, the universe bent to accommodate it. "You're actually going to humiliate some poor working person for entertainment?" Priya asked, though her excitement was barely contained. Vincent shrugged, already regretting the impulse but too proud to back down. "Think of it as a social experiment. Besides, they probably won't even show up." The next evening, Vincent's assistant delivered the invitation personally. The gold-embossed card was slipped under the janitor's supply closet door. Elegant calligraphy. Announcing the Sterling Foundation Gala. Formal attire required. RSVP not necessary. 3 floors below, Zara Nightfall found the invitation during her midnight rounds. Her unusual violet eyes, hidden behind colored contacts, scanned the elegant script with amusement rather than shock. Cruel joke from the man whose building she'd been cleaning for 3 years? But Zara Nightfall was not what Vincent Sterling believed her to be. She was not from Earth. Her true home lay in a star system that no longer existed, destroyed in a war that had scattered her people across the galaxy. The Etherians had been a proud civilization, masters of technology that made human achievements look primitive. But pride had been their weakness, making them slow to recognize the threat that ultimately consumed their worlds. Zara touched the translation device hidden beneath her collar, ensuring her perfect English remained intact. Her kind were telepathic, but she'd learned human languages to better blend in. For 3 years, She'd maintained the perfect disguise of invisibility. Just another immigrant worker that privileged humans looked through rather than at. She thought of Luna, her 8-year-old daughter sleeping in their small apartment. Autherian. Half-human Luna carried genes that could bridge two species. But that same heritage made her a target for those who feared what they didn't understand. Zara worked these lonely night shifts to keep Luna safe, to maintain their cover until her daughter was old enough to protect herself. The invitation felt warm in her hands, warming with an energy that human paper shouldn't possess. Zara's genetic memory recognized the sensation, technology responding to her alien physiology. Someone had touched this paper with intentional malice. But also curiosity. Human Vincent Sterling was more complex than he appeared. Zara made a decision that would change everything. In her apartment, she opened the single closet that held her past. Behind work uniforms and Luna's school clothes hung a garment she hadn't worn since arriving on Earth. It appeared to be simple black fabric. But in the right light, it would shimmer with the deep purple of nebulae, shot through with silver-like, captured starlight. The dress had been her mother's, woven from materials that existed nowhere in this solar system. Luna stirred as Zara prepared for the gala. "Mama, you look different." "Different how, little star?" "Like you did in the pictures from before?" Luna's young mind held fragments of memories that weren't quite her own, genetic echoes of a destroyed world. "Are you going to let them see you?" Zara knelt beside her daughter's bed, brushing away hair that caught light like spun gold, just for one night. Sometimes humans need to remember that they're not alone in the universe. "Will you be safe?" "I'm always safe, Luna. I'm stronger than I look." The child smiled, revealing teeth slightly sharper than human normal. "I know, Mama. You're like the warriors in my dreams." Saturday night arrived with unusual atmospheric disturbances. The weather services blamed solar flares, but sensitive individuals felt something else stirring. The Sterling Tower Gala buzzed with Earth's most powerful people. All gathered in the building's crown jewel, a ballroom that floated 40 stories above the city. Vincent stood near the entrance, whiskey in hand, scanning faces he'd known since childhood. Everything felt predictable, scripted, boring. His joke invitation had been forgotten amid champagne and politics. Then the elevator doors opened. The ballroom fell silent as if someone had cut the power to reality itself. She stepped out like night-given form, her dress catching light in ways that defied physics. Her skin held a subtle luminescence that no human cosmetic could replicate. When she moved, the air itself seemed to part with reverence. But it was her eyes that stopped Vincent's heart. They were violet, deep as space itself, holding depths that spoke of worlds beyond imagination. She looked at him across the room, and for the first time in his life, Vincent Sterling felt small. Not financially or socially small, but cosmically. Insignificant, as if he were a child who just realized the ocean was deeper than his sandbox. She walked toward him, and with each step, Vincent understood that his joke had backfired spectacularly. He hadn't invited a cleaning lady to humiliate her. He'd invited something magnificent, ancient, and utterly beyond his comprehension to judge him. He was terrified that he was about to be found wanting. Vincent Sterling had closed billion-dollar deals without breaking a sweat. Had stared down hostile takeovers with ice in his veins, but standing before Zara Nightfall, he felt his carefully constructed world crumbling like sandcastles before a tsunami. She moved through his gala with otherworldly grace, her violet eyes taking in everything while revealing nothing. Guests whispered behind champagne flutes, their earlier cruel anticipation replaced by confused fascination. This was not the humiliated cleaning lady they'd expected to mock. "Vincent," she said, her voice carrying subtle harmonics that made his name sound like music. "Thank you for the invitation." He opened his mouth to apologize, to explain, but found himself speechless. Up close, he could see the subtle differences that no amount of human genetics could explain. Her pupils held flecks of silver that shifted like captured starlight. Her skin had an almost imperceptible luminescence, as if lit from within by some internal source. "I should explain," Vincent finally managed, his voice hoarse. "The invitation, it wasn't meant to be kind." "I know exactly what it was meant to be," Zara replied, her tone neither angry nor hurt. Humans often fear what they don't understand. It's not entirely your fault. The word humans hit him like a physical blow. Not people or we, but humans, as if she stood outside that classification entirely. "Who are you?" he whispered. Before she could answer, Trevor Kane materialized beside them, his face flushed with champagne and malicious glee. "You absolute madman, you actually got her to come. This is better than we hoped." He turned to Zara with condescending charm. "I have to ask, how does it feel to be so far out of your element? This must be overwhelming for someone like you." Zara regarded Trevor with the patience of a parent watching a child throw a tantrum. "Someone like me," she repeated thoughtfully. "Tell me, Trevor Kane of Kane Financial Dynasty, what exactly do you think someone like me is?" Trevor blinked, surprised she knew his name. "Well, you're the help, a janitor. This is probably the closest you'll ever get to real money and power." Power, Zara mused, and something shifted in the air around them. The crystal chandelier above began to hum softly, its frequency matching some unseen energy. "Would you like to see real power, Trevor?" Vincent felt the temperature drop several degrees. Around the ballroom, sensitive electronics began displaying strange readings. Trevor's smug expression faltered as his diamond watch started glowing with an eerie blue light. "What's happening?" Trevor stammered, backing away. "Nothing that will harm you," Zara said gently, and everything returned to normal. "I was simply making a point." She turned back to Vincent, ignoring Trevor's stunned retreat. "Perhaps we could speak privately?" Vincent nodded, leading her through the crowd toward his private study. Behind them, guests buzzed with nervous energy, though none could quite explain why. The evening had taken a turn into territory their privileged minds couldn't process. In the quiet sanctuary of his study, surrounded by first-edition books and priceless artifacts, Vincent finally found his voice. "You're not human." "No," Zara confirmed, settling gracefully into a leather chair. "I'm Etherian. Or was, before. My world died." Vincent's legs gave out and he collapsed into his desk chair. All the possibilities he'd imagined alien refugee hadn't made the list. "That's impossible. Aliens don't exist." "If they did, we'd know. Would you?" Zara asked with sad amusement. "Your species has barely reached its own moon. You'd think you'd notice visitors who don't wish to be seen?" She touched something at her throat, and suddenly her appearance shifted subtly. Her skin took on a more pronounced luminescence. Her violet eyes became deeper, more complex. Her hair, which had appeared merely unusual, now showed threads of color that had no name in human language. "My people were explorers, scientists, artists. We'd been watching Earth for centuries, fascinated by humanity's potential. Some of us even fell in love with humans." Her expression grew tender. "Luna's father was human. A kind man who worked at the observatory where I was conducting research was," Vincent asked softly. "He died in the attack that destroyed my homeworld. Oh, I was here, on Earth, when it happened. Luna and I are among the few survivors." Vincent's mind reeled. "How many of you are here, scattered across the galaxy? Maybe a few thousand? Most try to blend in on primitive worlds where they can hide their abilities. I chose Earth because Luna is half human. She deserves to know that part of her heritage. So you became a janitor?" Zara's laugh held centuries of sadness. "I have. Advanced degrees in quantum physics, stellar engineering, and xenobiology. I helped design technology that could reshape matter at the molecular level. But those credentials don't exist in your databases, and displaying such knowledge would draw attention we can't afford." Vincent stared at her, realizing the magnitude of what he'd done. He'd invited a being whose intelligence made his achievements look like finger painting, then planned to humiliate her for his friend's amusement. "The night shifts keep me invisible," Zara continued. "I clean the offices of your space program, listening to your scientists struggle with problems I solved decades ago. I watch your people reaching for the stars with technology that's barely past combustion engines, and I remember when my people faced the same challenges. Why not help us? Share your knowledge." It's the last time my people share technology. "With a younger species, that species used it to destroy us." The weight of that revelation settled between them like a physical presence. Vincent understood now why she'd accepted his cruel invitation. She'd been testing him, measuring the character of the species that might one day reach beyond Earth's boundaries. "I'm sorry," he said, the words feeling pathetically inadequate. "For the invitation, for the joke, for everything. You're not responsible for your species' limitations, Vincent, but you are responsible for your own choices." She rose to leave, and panic shot through Vincent's chest. "Wait, I want to understand. I want to learn." Zara paused at the door. "Why?" "Because I've spent my entire life thinking I was important, that my money and power meant something. But you've shown me how small I really am. How small all of us are. I want to be better than the man who invited you here as a joke." "And what would you do with such knowledge?" "Use it to become even wealthier, more powerful." Vincent considered the question seriously. "I don't know. But I know I can't go back to who I was before tonight. You've changed something in me just by existing." Zara studied him with those impossible eyes, seeing layers of truth he didn't know he possessed. "Luna starts school on Monday. Human children can be cruel to those who are different. She tries to hide her abilities, but sometimes they slip through." "What kind of abilities?" "She can sense emotions like physical objects. Sometimes she moves things without touching them. Her intelligence is developing faster than human children. Her age, she feels alone in ways that would break your heart." Vincent's chest tightened. "What can I do? Be someone worthy of knowing her. Be someone she could look up to. Because if you're truly sorry, if you truly want to be better, then prove it through actions, not words." After Zara left, Vincent stood alone in his study, staring at the city lights that no longer seemed as bright. Everything he'd believed about reality, about his place in the universe, had been shattered and reformed in the space of an hour. He thought about Luna, a child caught between two worlds, possessing gifts that made her an outcast among humans. He thought about Zara, a brilliant being reduced to cleaning floors to protect her daughter's secret. He thought about his own hollow existence, chasing meaningless achievements while the universe itself walked unseen through his building. The next morning, Vincent did something unprecedented. He canceled his meetings, ignored his board of directors, and drove to the small apartment complex where his company's employment records showed the night janitor lived. He found Zara outside, pushing Luna on a rusty swing set. The little girl was beautiful in an otherworldly way, her golden hair catching light like captured sunbeams, her eyes the same impossible violet as her mother's. "Mama," Luna said as Vincent approached, "he feels different than he did before." Zara smiled at her daughter's perceptiveness. "Yes, little star. Sometimes people change." Vincent knelt to Luna's level, humbled by the ancient wisdom in her young face. "Hello, Luna. My name is Vincent. I'm a friend of your mother's." Luna tilted her head, studying him with uncomfortable intensity. "You were sad inside, but now you're curious. Curiosity is better than sadness." "You're very wise," Vincent said softly. "Mama says I get it from both sides of my family. The human side gives me hope, and the other side gives me understanding." Vincent looked up at Zara. "I've been thinking all night about what you said, about being worthy. I want to help, if you'll let me." "Help how?" "However you need. Luna's education, your safety, your research. I have resources, connections. Let me use them for something that actually matters." Zara was quiet for a long moment, weighing possibilities and dangers. "The world isn't ready for what we are, Vincent. Helping us means keeping secrets that could destroy everything you've built." "Then that's what I'll do," Vincent said, without hesitation. "Because some things are more important than everything I've built." Luna slipped from the swing and approached Vincent, her small hand touching his arm. "He means it, Mama. His heart is different colors now." And in that moment, standing in a run-down playground while a half-alien child read his emotions like a book, Vincent Sterling finally understood what it meant to be truly wealthy. 6 months had passed since the gala that changed everything. Vincent Sterling's transformation from arrogant billionaire to protective ally hadn't gone unnoticed. His former friends whispered about his strange new priorities, his sudden interest in humanitarian causes, his mysterious disappearances from high society events. He didn't care. For the first time in his life, Vincent had found something worth protecting that couldn't be bought, sold, or conquered. Luna thrived in her new private school, though she still struggled to contain abilities that made her stand out. Vincent had quietly funded additional counselors trained to work with gifted children, never specifying exactly what gifts they'd be helping with. Zara had returned to her true calling, working in Vincent's private research facility under a carefully constructed identity as Dr. Zara Nolan, a brilliant scientist with impeccable but untraceable credentials. Their relationship had grown slowly, built on trust rather than passion, understanding rather than desire. Vincent had learned to see beyond the surface, to appreciate the incredible mind behind Zara's otherworldly beauty. She had learned, too, trust again, to believe that not all humans would exploit what they didn't understand. But their carefully constructed peace was about to be shattered. The first sign came during Luna's violin lesson. Vincent had been watching through the observation window, marveling at how the child's emotion-sensing abilities translated into music that could make angels weep. Suddenly, Luna's head snapped up, her violet eyes wide with terror. "Mama, she," whispered, though Zara was 3 floors away in the lab. "They're coming." Before Vincent could ask what she meant, every electronic device in the building began displaying the same message and symbols that hurt to look at directly. "We have found you, daughter of Ethereum. Come home." Zara burst into the room minutes later, her face pale with an emotion Vincent had never seen in her before. Fear. "Have to leave," she said, gathering Luna into her arms. "Now, who's coming?" Vincent demanded. But even as he asked, he could see strange lights in the sky, moving with purpose that defied human technology. "My people," Zara said bitterly. "The survivors." "That's good, isn't it? You're not alone anymore." Zara's laugh held no humor. The Ethereans who survived are the ones who embraced violence. The warriors, the conquerors, the ones who wanted to fight rather than flee. They've spent years hunting down refugees like me, forcing us to join their war or eliminating us as traitors. The building shook as something massive settled on the roof. Vincent's security team was shouting through their radios. Retian. Impossible readings. Aircraft that didn't show up on any human sensors. "They want Luna," Zara continued, her voice breaking. "Us. A half-human Etherean child represents the next evolution of our species. They'll take her, train her, turn her into a weapon for their war against the beings who destroyed our world." "Over my dead body," Vincent said, and meant it. "That can be arranged," said a new voice. They turned to see a figure standing in the doorway where no figure had been moments before. Tall, imposing, with the same luminescent skin as Zara but eyes like frozen starlight. The newcomer wore armor that seemed to absorb light and carried weapons that hummed with barely contained energy. "Commander Thane," Zara breathed, her voice mixing recognition with revulsion. "Hello, little exile," Thane said in accented English. "You've been hiding well? It took us years to track you to this primitive world." "I'm not going back," Zara said, positioning herself between Thane and Luna. "You don't have a choice.
Oh.
Of us do, the war continues, and every Etherean is needed." Thane's gaze fell on Luna, who clung to her mother with wide, frightened eyes. "Especially her. Do you know what she is? What she could become?" "She's my daughter," Zara said firmly. "She's a bridge between species. Trained properly, she could infiltrate human society, prepare your people for integration or elimination, as we see fit. Her abilities are already remarkable for one so young." Vincent stepped forward despite every instinct screaming that he was vastly outmatched. "She's a child. She's not a weapon." Thane regarded him with amusement. "And what are you, little? Human, Zara's pet? Her science experiment?" "I'm the man who loves them both," Vincent said simply. "And I won't let you take them." The admission hung in the air like a confession. Vincent hadn't meant to say it, hadn't even fully acknowledged it to himself, but facing the possibility of losing them made everything crystal clear. Zara turned to stare at him, her violet eyes wide with surprise and something deeper. "Vincent, how touching," Thane sneered. "The exile has found herself a human plaything. Tell me, Vincent Sterling, what exactly do you think you can do against me?" Vincent's answer came not in words but in action. His hand moved to the emergency controls he'd had installed throughout the building. A security system designed by Zara herself using a fusion of human engineering and Ethereum technology. The room filled with a frequency that made Thanes stagger. His armor's energy field fluctuating wildly. It wouldn't hold him for long, but it bought them precious seconds. The escape pods, Vincent shouted over the noise. Zara, take Luna and go. I'm not leaving you, she said, and Vincent's heart soared, even as his world fell apart. You have to. Luna needs you. I'll buy you time. More Ethereum soldiers materialized in the hallway, their weapons charging with lethal light. Vincent's human security team would be no match for them, but that wasn't the plan. Sterling to all units, Vincent spoke into his communicator. Execute Protocol Starfall. Throughout the building, hidden systems activated. Zara's research had yielded more than just defensive measures. Vincent had quietly integrated Ethereum-inspired technology into his entire corporate infrastructure, creating the most advanced security network on Earth. Energy shields activated, sealing off sections of the building. Quantum scramblers interfered with Ethereum teleportation technology. Most importantly, a signal began broadcasting on frequencies that would reach every government installation on the planet. You've announced our presence to your entire species, Thane snarled, his composure cracking as he fought against the building's defenses. Do you have any idea what you've done? I've leveled the playing field, Vincent replied. Humanity deserves to know they're not alone in the universe. They deserve to choose their own future. Through the building's windows, they could see aircraft approaching from every direction. Human military forces, alerted by Vincent's signal, converging on what their sensors told them was an extraterrestrial incursion. Mama, Luna said softly, I can feel them all. The scared humans, the angry Ethereans, the confused soldiers. Everyone's afraid. What do you feel from us? Zara asked gently. Luna considered the question with the seriousness only children possess. Love. Different kinds, but all strong. Vincent loves us like family. You love me like the sun loves the earth. And you love Vincent like two puzzle pieces that finally found their match. Zara looked at Vincent across the chaos, their eyes meeting with perfect understanding. Luna's right. I do love you, Vincent Sterling.
I love you.
Stubborn human courage, your willingness to stand against impossible odds. For people you care about, love you too, Vincent said, and meant it with every fiber of his being. Both of you. My family. Thane's forces were breaking through the building's defenses, but they were running out of time. Human military forces had surrounded the structure, and more importantly, news crews were arriving. The secret was out. This isn't over, Thane, warned his armor's stealth systems flickering back to life. The child will come with us eventually. Her gifts are too valuable to waste on human sentiment. No, Luna said, her young voice carrying unexpected authority. I choose where I go. I choose who I become. I choose to stay with my family. As she spoke, every piece of technology in the room responded to her will. Lights brightened, computers hummed with increased power, and the very air seemed to vibrate with potential. Luna was no longer hiding her abilities. Thane stepped back, genuine surprise, replacing his arrogance. Impossible. She's too young to have that level of control. She's half human, Zara said proudly. Human stubbornness combined with Ethereum power. She's exactly what the universe needs. The building shook again as Thane's ship lifted off, retreating into the atmosphere. But Vincent knew this was just the beginning. Humanity now knew about alien life, and the universe would never be the same. In the days that followed, Vincent Sterling became the most famous human on Earth. The man who'd revealed alien contact, who'd stood against advanced beings to protect a refugee family, who'd changed the course of human history. But fame meant nothing compared to the quiet moments, Luna teaching him to sense emotions the way she did. Zara sharing the wonders of Ethereum science while learning to appreciate human resilience. Family dinners where the conversation ranged from quantum physics to elementary school gossip.